Hi there, it's Skully here from Plant Brighton. We're sowing the seeds of a new church in central Brighton in 2021. Now, what do you look for in a church? Imagine you're moving to a new city, or you're hearing about a new work that's starting up. What questions should you ask about it? I think we often approach this subject as consumers. We ask questions a bit like, what's the quality of the music like? Is it to my taste? Is it to my style? Or what's the quality of the kids' work like? Will it do my kids good? That's a good question to ask. Or what's the quality of the preaching like? Is it dynamic and full of truth? Or is it the kind of stuff that I'll fall asleep to halfway through the morning? And of course, there's the most important question, isn't there? What's the quality of the coffee like? Now, most of those questions are not bad questions to ask, are they, about any church that we're thinking of joining? I'd love to go to a church that ticks all those boxes, that has singing which is lively and dynamic and full of people who actually mean what they're singing, the truths about God. I'd love to go to a church where my kids are thriving and really want to attend. I'd love to go to a church where the preaching is powerful and full of the Holy Spirit and conviction about Christ. And yes, I would love to go to a church where they serve quality coffee. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't really treat church as consumers, should we? We're just servants. We want to gather together to serve, not to receive a service, but to serve the Lord and to serve one another. Well, we'll think more about church on another episode. But I think there's a more important question to ask about any church, about any new work that is starting, that you should be asking about Grace Church Brighton, or Grace Plant Brighton as it is at the moment. And here's the question. What do these people believe? What do these people believe? At the end of the day, what you believe impacts what you do and why you do it in a particular community as a church. What does this church believe is probably the biggest question you could ask of any individual church or new work starting up. The Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 says this to the Corinthian church. He says, "I want to make clear for you, brothers and sisters, the gospel I preached to you, which you received and on which you have taken your stand and by which you have been saved, if you hold to the message I preached to you, unless you believed in vain." For Paul, what the church believed, that it believed the gospel, was the most important thing. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be answering that question. What does Grace Plant Brighton believe? Next week, we start with a very basic but important question. What do we believe about God? Until then, I'm Skully. This is Grace Plant Brighton. See you next week.